Hey guys, welcome to my latest Walking Dead recap and review. I'm Jessica Dwyer, if you didn't know, coming to through Fangirl Magazine's YouTube channel. And this episode was called Stradivarius, and it had a lot of major developments, a lot of things we found out. We found out the definitive answer on where Maggie is right now in the show. She's off with Georgie, and that leaves her open to return, which we know they're going to try and do, giving Lauren Cohen's schedule. This episode, we got to see Jesus take on Aaron, and that was interesting and fun. This episode had a lot going on, and it was really interesting to see, and it was really cool to see that Michael Cudlitz had actually directed this episode, which is pretty neat. Um, so Abraham, for those that don't know who the actor is, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a little oddly paced, maybe. It was a little oddly paced, but there was a lot of reunions happening in this episode, and that was really cool to see. It was great to see um, Carol and Daryl back together again, and the haircut scene was, of course, very sweet. And uh, anybody else worried about the dog? I was worried about the dog. I was worried about the horses. I'm really concerned because so far we haven't had like a massive animal death yet in this season, and they're setting it up to be really, really bad. Because God, man, it's actually, as far as I can tell from what he was saying on Instagram and on Twitter, it really is Norman Reedus's dog in real life that's in the show. So I'm very concerned about the dog, and I was going to lose my collective crap if the dog had died. And every time I see a dog in a horror movie or anything, I'm totally concerned about it. So very concerned about the dog. I was concerned about the horses too again, but so far, no horse deaths this season on The Walking Dead. Thank you. Um, it was it was the Paisley shirt of doom, which is what I'm calling that shirt. That scene um, was interesting and intense, and you would have thought, well, maybe they didn't have time. Typically, the survivors in this show take care of their fallen ones, so they don't come back. So I'm sort of surprised that they didn't do that for their Paisley shirt of doom wearing buddy. That's name's escaping me. One thing I didn't really comment on last week, and when we were introduced to the new survivors, was the fact that one of the major big bads in this season is the whisperers, who talk very quietly and sound like this and sound like the zombies talking. Um, and the fact that one of our survivors that we've added on is deaf, as far as I can tell, or at least mute. I think she may be mute. They haven't really gotten into detail. She talks with sign language, and I find that interesting. It's an interesting comparison there. I thought that was kind of neat to realize. So I'm wondering how that's going to play in upcoming episodes. I like that she can feel vibrations on the ground, and that makes me think she's deaf. I really, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays. The other things going on in this episode, like I said, there was a lot of people are talking about Michonne and how she's kind of become very hard-hearted, and there's something going on with her. They haven't really mentioned AJ, and I didn't actually mention AJ in the last episode, last one of these I did either. AJ, or RJ, sorry, AJ. I have Simon and Simon on the brain. It's Jameson Parker's birthday. Um, so RJ, Rick Jr., they haven't really mentioned him that much yet, and I'm surprised by that. So that may be part of what is going on with Michonne. The one thing I'm really concerned about, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to him, is what's going on with Eugene. Let me tell you, seeing Rosita running bloody and alone really freaked me out, and thank God she actually said that Eugene was back in the barn somewhere. Eugene's kind of ballsed up this season, as we've seen, with his non-mullet hair and taking on walkers and running into the fray. But I'm concerned about Eugene, and I like Eugene. I don't want nothing to happen to him. So anyway, going on a tangent there with Eugene Love, but I really enjoyed seeing the hilltop and what's been going on there. I like seeing Jesus take charge. Jesus is king, for want of a better term, I guess. But it's great to see how we were finally finding out what's going on. It seems like there was a lot of splintering that's happened in that time jump that we've had. So I'm curious to see what's going on. I really have a bad feeling about this fair. I think we're going to have some bad things happen with the fair, because it's going to pull all of these communities into one place, together in one spot. That's not good. That's going to end badly for everybody. It's going to end badly for everybody. Not a good idea, but it's going to happen. And as I've said before, if this follows the comic story with the Whisperers, we're going to lose some major people, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be hard stuff. One thing that I noticed on the credits at the beginning of the show, and I was happy to see, I freaked out a little bit, was C. Thomas Howell. C. Thomas Howell was in this episode with a full-on beard, riding a horse, carrying a spear, and looking badass, which is pretty awesome. So he's a member of the Hilltop. Somehow this happened. Pony Boy was on a pony. So that was a nice surprise. So with this episode, we got a lot of the characters back together again that had been apart. We still see that there's a lot of splintering that's happening. Their communities are going to have to come back together. Now, what's interesting is there was no mention of Oceanside. There probably was a big bad thing happen with that group after it came out that they were the ones killing off the saviors. Who knows? We wonder what happened to them. Where have they gone? We know what happened to the saviors thanks to Carol and her handy dandy ability to burn things alive. But you wonder where they're at. So this episode really, it was sort of erratic a little bit. As I said, I liked seeing the whole thing with Daryl and Carol. It was really about people coming back together. And now we're literally, I think, have one episode left before the show goes into hiatus until next year for volume 2 or section 2 or whatever you want to call it. The annoying crap that happens every year with The Walking Dead, where it stops halfway through the season. And so that episode is actually going to be called Evolution. And what I think that's going to be the focus of, and what that's talking about, is in fact what's going on with the Whisperers and how they are kind of controlling and corralling the walkers. And they're going to talk about the fact that they're talking, and there's going to be some confusion over that. I'm sure it's going to scare the living crap out of a bunch of people, thinking that the walkers are actually becoming smarter and they're getting the ability to speak. So that is no doubt what this episode's going to be about, and the discovery that they're not actually zombies or walkers or shamblers or whatever you want to call them, but they are in fact humans wearing zombie skin and moving amongst them, which is really gross the more you think about it. So yes, this episode was about coming together, sort of bridging that gap, because what's going to happen is they are going to have to come together again as communities to fight this new big bad. And I'm going to say it, even though the episode, I had some issues with the pacing and with kind of how it played. It was a great episode. And it's sad to see that, because of the issues of the previous seasons, a lot of people kind of gave up on it. There's been a drop in ratings, of course, and everything. But this season has been great so far. It has been super good, uh, beautifully shot, beautifully, just written, good character act. The actors are doing a great job. Um, it's just really good. I don't know if it's the lack of animal death that makes me love it or what. I'm happy that the horses aren't being ripped apart, but it's really good. And if you stopped watching, if you just happen to come upon this rambling video that I'm doing here, um, go back, come back to The Walking Dead. Come back to The Walking Dead and watch it. It is you will be happy you did. It is some of the best stuff that they've done in a very, very, very long time. It's character driven again. There's development in the characters. It's not just death for the sake of death. It's been really well done. I think they've realized that, you know, just misery porn for misery porn's sake and just doing character deaths for rating spikes just isn't the way to go with the show. People like the characters. They want to see stuff happen, good stuff. They want story, and that's what they're doing now, and that's great. So give it a shot. If you gave up on it you just decided, nah, I'm done. It's worth coming back, especially this season, and get caught up. It's good. Judith Grimes is fantastic. Hey, Epic Zombie Killer. Yay, you're here. I am loving this season too. This was a fantastic episode. There is some really good stuff going on this season. The new showrunner is doing a fantastic job. Greg Nicotero knocks it out of the park when he directs. Cudlitz did a great job directing this episode. It's just really good. And I think you owe it to yourself and to the show to give it this shot, because with what they're talking about doing, the expanding of the universe, they really need to get more story driven. And yeah, I know you missed me talking about the dog. They better not kill the dog. And actually, the dog is really Norman Reedus's dog. So I hope he doesn't let him be killed on screen. That's kind of jacked up. Norman, don't kill your dog, man. That's not cool. One can only hope that Negan gets a dog, because Jeffrey Dean Morgan and dogs, or a donkey, that'll work too. He loves his donkeys. But yeah, if you gave up, come back, because it's definitely worth watching. There's some really great stuff going on. The time jumps, I think, have helped it, because it allowed them to grow. It's allowed these characters to flourish. Daryl and Henry were great together, and it's very sweet to see Carol trusting Daryl with her child again. Because what happened back before with Carol and her daughter was heartbreaking. Sophia and the whole thing with Daryl and him looking for her, desperately looking for her, the whole Cherokee Rose thing. That's still always going to be there. And I love the fact that Henry told Daryl, "You're my mom's best friend, and you're the one she could always count on." That was very sweet, and really harkened back to those early seasons where those two bonded. And it's really sweet to see that Carol wants Daryl to be there to help her new kid, her son, to grow and be safe. She trusts him with him. That's awesome for Carol to trust someone like that, and of course that's going to be Daryl that she trusts. I really enjoyed the scenes at the hilltop. I liked seeing that. I like seeing Jesus have to deal with being the leader, because he's really kind of the guy that squirrels around on the outskirts and doesn't feel comfortable being the center of attention. It's obvious. that's not his jam. That's not what he does. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's nice to see these characters that didn't really get a lot to do, like Rosita, um, and to get some stuff, to get to do stuff. Yeah, and that was good too. It's nice to hear something about what happened with Maggie and where she's at and why she's there. So that was nice considering the lack of fanfare that happened with Lauren Cohen leaving on the same last episode as Rick. When no one knew, apparently, except for some people that had been paying attention, that was her last episode, until she somehow figures out a way to come back, schedule-wise. So it was nice to hear Maggie's still around, traveling around with the twins and Georgie doing something at another place. Luke's so gonna die. Maybe. I don't know. He might stick around. He might be another Eugene. Luke may end up being another Eugene. We need people like him around. But yeah, so I really enjoyed, as I said, I really loved this episode. This season's great. I'm sad that it's almost over again, and we're going to have that 2-3 month hiatus like we always get. I think that's coming up. The last episode that we're going to get for 3 months is next week's. Yay. So hopefully that doesn't kill the momentum. I don't think it will. But it would. Well, it got Ezekiel a pretty good ways, It got him Carol, you got to say. Epic Zombie Killer is saying that the happy, positive attitude doesn't always get you that far in this show. But you got to say that it has helped Ezekiel pretty good. He's still around for right now. I've read the comic. I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go out. I'm very worried though. And I'll tell you why. I think I brought this up before, in regards to Ezekiel and what happens to him in the comic and what originally happened to Carol in the comic books. Ezekiel meets a bad end in the comics thanks to the Whisperers. Now, this show doesn't always follow the comics, as we've seen, Carl. But the thing with Carol is that in the comics, she kills herself. I know, definitely different character now from what's in that. But in the comics, she suicides by Walker, of all things, because she's rebuffed by Rick and Lori for a menage a trois. No joke. That is what happens with Carol. Comic Carol sucked. Yes, she did. And by the way, Sophia was still alive at the time that Carol did this. So she kills herself with her daughter still alive because she got rebuffed for being a swinger. Anyway, so my concern is if something happens to Ezekiel like happens in the comic, I'm worried that Carol may do something drastic. I don't want that to happen. Carol can only take so much, Yes, TV Carol is way better than the comic version. If TV Carol dies, I don't know what I'll do. I may set myself on fire in homage to her killing of numerous saviors. If she dies, not going to be good for me. She's my woman. Team Carol forever. The queen, my queen, is my queen. Hey, look. So yeah, I'm really excited to see the Whisperers. I can't wait for the reveals. It's going to be fantastic. So stick with The Walking Dead. Catch up to this season if you've not given it a chance. If for some reason you decided to watch this, please let me reiterate, you need to watch this season. It's really, 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 really good. So yeah, check out The Walking Dead. Leave comments here if you're enjoying these. I'll keep doing them because I have no life, and well, she's not going to die. She just signed for 3 more years. That could be a ploy. I don't trust anything on this show because Carl signed, I think, for 2 or 3 more years. And what happened to him? So, to wrap up, watch the show, catch up. The Whisperers are going to kill everybody, and it's going to be awesome. And Negan's going to end up becoming a hero. Just you wait. See my boy right there? Negan. We are Negan. And Negan's going to come back and kick some ass and be awesome. And you're going to love Negan. You're going to love him. All right, guys. So thank you for watching. Leave comments, subscribe, make us feel some love. And I'll be back next week, maybe earlier, with some other stuff on this channel. If you like it, let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye.